Hello there everyone, today's video is all about high rates of tax. Now, here's a question for you. What is the highest rate of tax in the UK? Well, you might say 45%. If you earn more than 150 grand, you're going to pay 45% rate of tax. Yes, that's true, but what about the 60% rate of tax? So when you earn over 100,000 and your personal allowance is clawed back, there's an effective rate of tax of 60% between earning 100 and 125 grand. Okay, you may think, well, yeah, that's the highest. Well, no, let me tell you about a rate of tax in the UK code, in the UK rules right now that can give rise to 25,000%. Yep, that's right, 25,000% rate of tax. Now, as crazy as it sounds, it's absolutely true. Let me explain. So it's all to do with the marriage allowance. Now, the marriage transferable nil rate ban. So what this is basically it says, look, you got man and a wife, and one of them earns less than the personal allowance threshold, so less than 12.5 grand a year, and one of them is a basic rate taxpayer, so one of them earns less than 50 grand a year. So that's the criteria to do this. First of all, so spouse, one of them earns less than 12.5, one of them earns less than 50. And what happens is the one that earns less than 12.5, because they are paying zero tax, what the rules say that you can transfer 10% of that personal allowance to the other spouse. So 10% of 12.5 grand is 1,250, and that goes across to the other spouse, who is a basic rate taxpayer, so they will save 20% tax on having that 1,250 quid transferred to them, so it saves them about £250. So, let's take the example. We've got John and Sue. John's on £10,000 income, Sue is on 50,270, because that's the actual threshold. It's not a flat 50 grand. It was a couple of years ago, now it's 50,270. So she's right on the cusp of tripping into higher rate. So 10% of the transferable nil rate band, because he has that available, 10%, 12,570 is 1,257. So Sue, her income goes from being 50,270, then you've got to knock off 1,257. So that transfer across saves her £252. 10% of hubby's nil rate band at 20%, £252. Great. So that's how the transferable personal allowance works between married couples. Now, what if the earnings profile was slightly different? John still earns 10,000, but Sue earns £50,271. In other words, she's £1 into higher rate tax. But the rules say if you are even £1 into higher rate tax, you can't do this transfer of the nil rate band. Remember, John's still on 10 grand, so he's got the capability to transfer some nil rate band across, but the rules say you can't because the recipient, i.e. Sue, is a higher rate taxpayer, even though she's £1 into higher rate. So that means that her earning an extra £1 has cost her £252 in tax. Hence 25,000% rate of tax. So there you go. So that's unfortunately how the rules work. £1 extra of income in Sue's case has cost her £252 in tax, i.e. the 252 that she would have saved by transferring that nil rate band across. Effective tax rate, 25,000%. So what does she do about it? That's the solution. Well, all she's got to do is make a charitable donation of 80 pence. She's got to wire across 80p into the charity of her choice, and that will bring her adjusted income down to the exact threshold for tripping into higher rate, 50 270 back to what it was there, and then they can do the transferable band. So the takeaway from this video is, other than highlighting this genuine 25,000% tax rate that is in existence in the UK, is if you are in a similar situation where you not maybe even £1, but a few thousand or whatever it is over this higher rate threshold, think about making payment to charity or indeed pensions. And I've done a separate video on this. Pension contributions, charitable contributions will get that adjusted earnings figure back down to 50,000, which is great not only for this sort of thing, transferable nil rate bands, but also for things like high income child benefit charge. You know, if one of you is over 50 grand, then you start getting child benefit clawed back. So there's all sorts of reasons to want to do some sort of planning. If you're over the cusp, just in that 50,000 range, 50,000 and something, between 50 and 60 really, think about pensions, think about charitable contributions, because not only can you reinstate transferring nil rate bands if your spouse is on a modest income, but you can also avoid the clawback on the high income child benefit. So just an overview there on the 25,000% tax rate. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please do subscribe, and I'll see you soon.